Question: which of these is not a rule to follow for backing safely? Option number 1, make use of helper as often as possible. Option number 2, accelerate slightly to complete the backing process completely. Option number 3, combine backing and turning towards the driver's side whenever you can. Option number 4, back slowly while using your mirrors. The answer is option number 2, accelerate slightly to complete the backing process completely. Question: which of these is not a common cause of vehicle fires? Option number 1, problems in electrical systems. Option number 2, halogen lights. Option number 3, underinflated tires. Option number 4, flammable cargo. The answer is option number 2, halogen lights. Question: retarders? Option number 1, reduce wear and tear on the brakes. Option number 2, apply braking power to the drive wheels. Option number 3, reduce the need to apply the brakes to slow the vehicle. Option number 4, do all of the above. The answer is option number 4, do all of the above. Question: a top-heavy load is dangerous because it can cause? Option number 1, damage to the axles or steering. Option number 2, a rollover on a curve. Option number 3, a rollover if you swerve around a hazard. Option number 4, all of the above. The answer is option number 4, all of the above. Question: in a 7-day period, you are permitted to drive a maximum of hours. Option number 1, 65. Option number 2, 50. Option number 3, 60. Option number 4, 70. The answer is option number 3, 60. Question: which of these statements is true about the relationship between cargo and height? Option number 1, an empty van is lower than a loaded one. Option number 2, the weight of the cargo changes a vehicle's height. Option number 3, the weight of the cargo does not change a vehicle's height. Option number 4, the height of an empty van is the same as that of a loaded one. The answer is option number 2, the weight of the cargo changes a vehicle's height. Question: an A, B, C type fire extinguisher is designed to work on which types of fires? Option number 1, electrical. Option number 2, wood, paper, and cloth. Option number 3, gasoline. Option number 4, all of the above. The answer is option number 4, all of the above. Question: which of these is not a possible penalty for having more than one license? Option number 1, having your California CDL canceled. Option number 2, warning for a first offense. Option number 3, being fined up to $5,000. Option number 4, being put in jail. The answer is option number 2, warning for a first offense. Question: according to the state of California, what is the most important and obvious reason to check your vehicle? Option number 1, safety. Option number 2, to see if your vehicle needs a wash. Option number 3, employer liability. Option number 4, to make sure your paint is not chipped. The answer is option number 1, safety. Question: what must you do if you are involved in a collision that involves death, injury, or property damage over $1,000? Option number 1, surrender your CDL. Option number 2, stop driving your vehicle for 10 days. Option number 3, file an official report on Form SR1 within 10 days. Option number 4, do all of the above. The answer is option number 3, file an official report on Form SR1 within 10 days. Question: your vehicle is stuck on railroad tracks. You should? Option number 1, gather up your belongings and paperwork, and then leave the cab. Option number 2, keep trying to move your vehicle until you see the train. Option number 3, immediately get out of the cab and move away from the tracks. Option number 4, try to save some of the cargo if you don't see a train yet. The answer is option number 3, immediately get out of the cab and move away from the tracks. Question: where should you place your warning devices if you must stop on a one-way or divided highway? Option number 1, 10 feet, 100 feet, and 200 feet toward approaching traffic. Option number 2, 100 feet, 200 feet, and 300 feet toward approaching traffic. Option number 3, 20 feet, 50 feet, and 100 feet toward approaching traffic. Option number 4, 50 feet, 100 feet, and 150 feet toward approaching traffic. The answer is option number 1, 10 feet, 100 feet, and 200 feet toward approaching traffic. Question: the amount of liquid to load into a tank depends on? Option number 1, the amount of liquid will expand in transit. Option number 2, the weight of the liquid. Option number 3, the legal weight limits. Option number 4, all answers are correct. The answer is option number 4, all answers are correct. Question: according to the state of California, you are considered involved in interstate commerce unless the cargo you are transporting? Option number 1 originates out of state. Option number 2 consists of waste or other hazardous substances. Option number 3 originates in the state and is headed for a location in the state. Option number 4 is headed for a location out of state. The answer is option number 3, originates in the state and is headed for a location in the state. Question: which of the following is not a basic skill needed to operate a commercial vehicle? Option number 1, ability to multitask while driving. Option number 2, ability to back the vehicle safely. Option number 3, ability to accelerate. Option number 4, ability to steer. The answer is option number 1, ability to multitask while driving. Question: what is the gross vehicle weight, GVW? Option number 1, the total weight of a single vehicle and its load. Option number 2, a vehicle's maximum weight rating, specified by its manufacturer. Option number 3, the total weight of the vehicle, including the load and any trailers. Option number 4, any of the above. The answer is option number 1, the total weight of a single vehicle and its load. Question: which of the following should you not do if you experience a tire failure? Option number 1, hold the steering wheel firmly. Option number 2, apply the brakes hard and immediately. Option number 3, stay off the brake pedal. Option number 4, be aware that a tire has failed. The answer is option number 2, apply the brakes hard and immediately. Question: which of these will cause you to lose your CDL for a minimum of 1 year for the first offense? Option number 1, refusing to undergo blood alcohol testing when asked to do so. Option number 2, committing a felony that involves your use of a CMV. Option number 3, driving a commercial motor vehicle, CMV, when your blood alcohol content, BAC, is 0.04% or higher. Option number 4, all of the above. The answer is option number 4, all of the above. Question: how many tie-downs are required for a 20-foot load? Option number 1, 4. Option number 2, 3. Option number 3, 1. Option number 4, 2. The answer is option number 4, 2. Question: for an average commercial vehicle, being driven at 55 miles per hour on dry pavement, it will take about to bring the vehicle to a stop. Option number 1, the length of a vehicle. Option number 2, twice the length of the vehicle. Option number 3, more than the length of a football field. Option number 4, the length of a football field. The answer is option number 3, more than the length of a football field. Question: which of these statements about using mirrors is true? Option number 1, you should look at a mirror for several seconds at a time. Option number 2, convex mirrors make things look closer than they really are. Option number 3, these are blind spots that your mirror cannot show you. Option number 4, you should check your mirrors twice for a lane change. The answer is option number 3, these are blind spots that your mirror cannot show you. Question: too much weight on the steering axle can cause the following? Option number 1, hard steering. Option number 2, damage to the steering axle. Option number 3, damage to the tires. Option number 4, all answers are correct. The answer is option number 4, all answers are correct. Question: you must inspect your cargo? Option number 1, before starting. Option number 2, every 3 hours or 150 miles. Option number 3, after every break. Option number 4, all answers are correct. The answer is option number 4, all answers are correct. Question: total stopping distance equals? Option number 1, perception distance plus reaction distance plus braking distance. Option number 2, reaction distance plus braking distance. Option number 3, reaction distance plus viewing distance plus braking distance. Option number 4, braking distance plus stopping distance. The answer is option number 1, perception distance plus reaction distance plus braking distance. Question: when approaching a curve, you should. Option number 1, downshift while in the curve. Option number 2, downshift as you come out of the curve. Option number 3, downshift before entering the curve and accelerate slightly as you go through it. Option number 4, downshift at any time, it doesn't make a difference. The answer is option number 3, downshift before entering the curve and accelerate slightly as you go through it. Question: a driver's grid log, if required? Option number 1, may be brought up to date once a week. Option number 2 is also called a tachograph. Option number 3 must be shown immediately when an officer requests it. Option number 4, all answers are correct. The answer is option number 3, must be shown immediately when an officer requests it. Question: the amount of liquid to load into a tank depends on? Option number 1, the amount of liquid will expand in transit. Option number 2, the weight of the liquid. Option number 3, the legal weight limits. Option number 4, all answers are correct. The answer is option number 4, all answers are correct. Question: before transporting a sealed load, you must check. Option number 1, a small sample of whatever is inside. Option number 2, a picture of whatever is inside. Option number 3, that you don't exceed gross weight or axle weight limits. Option number 4, all answers are correct. The answer is option number 3, that you don't exceed gross weight or axle weight limits. Question: which of these statements about speed management is true? Option number 1, on a wet road you should reduce your speed by about 1/3. Option number 2, on packed snow you should reduce your speed by about half. Option number 3, when the road is slippery it will take longer to stop, and it will be harder to turn without skidding. Option number 4, all answers are correct. The answer is option number 4, all answers are correct. Question: do empty trucks have the best braking? Option number 1, yes, but only on wet surfaces. Option number 2, no. Option number 3, yes, but only if the trucks are newer than 1998. Option number 4, yes. The answer is option number 2, no.